A new warning coming from House Republicans. Americans could be hit with a 22% tax hike if Trump's tax cuts are not extended. Grady Trimble in Washington with more on this. Grady, so obviously the pressure is on the Republicans to get those tax cuts extended. The question is, can they do it?
Yeah, that is a huge question, considering we don't even know if House Speaker Mike Johnson has enough votes from Republicans to get reelected as Speaker. But we'll see. And as you know, Cheryl, the tax cuts that President-elect Trump ushered in during his first term, they're set to expire exactly 1 year from today. So House Ways and Means Committee Chair Jason Smith is kind of trying to get ahead of the fight that's about to happen on Capitol Hill and warning his fellow members of Congress that if they don't act to extend those tax cuts, it'll mean a huge tax hike for everyday Americans, 22% more on average, he says, which will only compound the pain of inflation, particularly for lower income Americans. Getting those tax cuts extended is high up on House Speaker Mike Johnson's list of priorities if he wins re-election later this week.
We are going to restore our stature on the world stage, get our energy policy fixed, make sure that we don't have the largest tax cut in U.S. history imposed upon the American people at the end of next year when the tax cuts from the Trump era expires.
Elon Musk is chiming in on the tax debate, arguing that the U.S. tax code is way too many pages right now and needs to be drastically simplified. Democrats, on the other hand, are arguing new Trump tax cuts will only help people like him. Senate President Pro Tem Patty Murray writing on X, Republicans want to extend the Trump tax cuts that gave handouts to billionaires and mega corporations while forcing the middle class to foot the bill. She also says that the tax cuts will add to the national debt. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, in a pre-election analysis, agrees, but Republicans are pointing to new Treasury Department data, which shows that tax revenues have actually increased in a huge way, 45% from November of 2017, the year the tax cuts were first implemented, to this month. So that kind of bolsters their argument going into this big fight on Capitol Hill, Cheryl.
Question is now, what do you do to make sure that the debt doesn't get any worse? And we're going to talk about it right now. Grady, thank you very much. Let's bring in Texas Congressman Pete Sessions. Congressman, so first off, your reaction to Grady's reporting and that pushback, which is not a surprise from somebody like a Democratic senator, but extending those Trump tax cuts is very high on the list for 2025.
I don't think there's any question in my mind, in every single Republican's minds, and many Democrats, that a tax increase would not only harm the American economy, it would harm Americans also. Having more take-home pay, getting up and going to work should be an incentive for people, and then making their life better. It's not just part of the American dream. It's necessary for America to prove that we can make it work. And this was where Joe Biden and the Democrats failed to the American voter, and to, just like in business, either it works or it doesn't work. And it didn't work for too many people. Republicans will get it done, but it is going to be a close fight all the way to the end.
Well, you're co-chair of the House DOGE caucus. So I want to first say, what is the first order of business for DOGE? Because if you follow Elon Musk on X, and I'm sure you do, you know, he says he wants to get rid of these ridiculous research studies, you know, a waste of money there, maybe eliminate certain government offices. He said things like delete the IRS, whatever that means, and end the Federal Reserve, whatever that means. How do you work with Musk and Ramaswamy? And what do you want to see DOGE do?
Yeah. You said the word first, and I want to respond to that. The first and most important thing that we can add to sustaining America's influence and getting Americans to have confidence in government is to get government workers back to work. Getting government workers back to work is essential, not just to make the government work, but to make sure that we know what the size of government should be. It's an easy guess to say, well, I think we've got too many employees. But if they are not all back, it is something that could be a mistake. So the most important thing that DOGE is interested in is government efficiency. It will be relatively simple for us to go and sell. Government efficiency saves money. And that we will be able to do. And then that will be able to be laid out during the appropriations process, where we will come in after we've set a budget and said, this is the right size that we want. And government efficiencies will not only pay for themselves, they will provide states and the programs themselves a better opportunity to work as they should have.
I appreciate, Congressman, I do appreciate that you want federal workers to come back to the office. And that is because most corporations have now required, for the most part, for workers to come back in the office. I think their unions are going to have a little different take on all of that. So I think we'll side table that for now. But let's talk about the business of the House, because House Speaker Johnson is facing a fight to keep the gavel. There are some lawmakers that are on the fence. Congresswoman Claudia Tenney told me yesterday on this program that the House Speaker has her total support. Listen to what she says.
I support Speaker Johnson 100%. I supported him when he was running, I supported Jim Jordan. You know, we went through this. I think he's done a very admirable job. He understands what's at stake. What some of these people that are frustrating to see my own colleagues say is that, well, why does he work with Democrats? We have to work with Democrats.
What's your reaction, Congressman?
Well, first of all, Claudia is correct. I would add to her talking points, which are completely correct. We need to make sure that the timing of this is done correctly. We have literally 1 day from the time most members come in on the 2nd to the 3rd around noon, where there will be an election. This was something that was supposed to have been agreed to some time ago. Now, you and I both know that it was the CR that upended the apple cart, but we need to make sure that we elect Mike Johnson as our speaker. I'm 100% also behind this. And then we can fight later as we get into the year. The transition that goes through stable government from not only members of Congress, the House, but also the Senate to the presidency is essential for America and Americans to be seen across the world that we will not tolerate chaos. We're in to make sure that what will become our friend is the ability to successfully move an agenda. And that is, in no question about it, in Donald Trump's best interest also.
Well, you know, Congressman Sessions, obviously there's so many things that are on the agenda, financial issues that are very important to the American voters that wanted to see Donald Trump back in office, that with that slim majority that you're going to have, obviously it's going to be there may be times where you do have to reach across the aisle. And, you know, that's what Congresswoman Tenney said to me yesterday. This can be done, and it's going to have to be done in certain circumstances. But, you know, Mike Johnson, if he does retain that speakership, that means that he's got to really get that caucus on the same page. And we hope he does. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us, and Happy New Year.
And to you.